Welcome to this hobby of ours. Very special episode. We've got the new Dan Henry 1972 just come in. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to call Dan's first release of the 1972 Alpha A and the second one Bravo B. So if you hear me refer to Alpha or Bravo, I'm talking about the very first one he released versus the second one. Let's take it back to Dan's inspiration for this particular release. As we know, his mission, Dan's a fabulous world-renowned collector, and he decided to start his own watch company so that he could bring these beautiful designs to the people. A lot of the watches from the 60s, actually 50s, 60s, 70s onwards are, highly expensive and out of reach. So he takes the design elements, the design principles of those watches. Oftentimes, his designs are an amalgamation of several watches from a period, but with his 1972, it's pretty much spot on with the Porsche Design Chronograph 1, the 7176S. I'm not going to give any credence to the Heuer Pasadena, even the beloved Zinn 144 from the period. Those were all knocking off the Porsche design. And what Dan has done is he's produced a pretty accurate homage to the piece. The first one that came out, 1972, well, designed in 72, more or less hit the market in 73, is the Mario. Why do we call it the Mario? Well, we know it's the Valjoux, based on that subdial at 12 o'clock. The Mario variant along the Rehaut has kilometers, and then has Orfina above the date, and has a German day wheel. That was the very first one that come out, and that one is the Mario. And the reason we call it the Mario is it's the one that Mario Andretti owned. And how do we know that? Well, if we take a look at a man and his watch, boom, it's right there. 1 kilometers on the Rehaut, Orfina, and then a German day wheel. So that's how we know it is indeed the Mario. Now, Mario himself actually owned two. One, he either lost or had the first one stolen. And whenever Bootsy found out, they shipped him out another one. Dan's first release, the Alpha, the 1972, the very first one he put out, I see this as a homage or tribute to the beginning of the Porsche design watch that was released, the beginnings of that watch, as opposed to where Porsche design is today. And you'll understand that comment a bit more in a moment or two. But you know what? Let me clear off this bric-a-brac and we can focus on the watches. Both of these watches have been covered extensively on the channel, so we're only going to stay here for a minute, put some numbers up on the board, refresher. The original, the Alpha, is a very good homage to the OG. A couple things that separate it, other than the fact that it's quartz. It's got an alarm function over here and a screw-down crown, whereas the Valjoux, the 50, does not have a screw-down crown. The Lemania variant does have screw-down, but no screw-down crown here. Ultimately, Dan's Alpha version is a tribute to the original 1972 Orfina. Unfortunately, it was limited. I don't think the new model is limited. The unique thing about this case back, this is the one that has the motorcycle on the back, the Ducati. So let's put these down for a second, and let's bring in the Top Gun. Switching over to look at a Top Gun variant of the Porsche design before we get into Dan's new beauty, the Bravo. How do we know a Top Gun variant? Well, we call it the 1 mile. And reason being, it's got 1 mile on the Rehaut. We have PD above the date and an English day wheel. I'm going to insert some shots of how we were able to identify this. And I don't mean we by me, I mean the community sent in some photos. And now that we've got the Blu-ray HD version of Top Gun, there is no mistaking that 1 mile on the Rehaut, the PD logo. And it just makes sense that it would be an English day wheel for Mav. Getting these side by side, let's put some numbers up on the board, give you a quick sense of the Bravo edition versus the original PD. This Top Gun variant has the same dimensions as the Mario. Then we're going to cut over to both of Dan's watches side by side, which is the real heart of the comparison here. Just as with the first edition, there is a screw-down crown on this one, but there is no alarm. And I'm actually happy about that. They also don't have any faux loom on this piece. You'll see it side by side in a minute. Whereas the first piece, the Alpha, was paying tribute to the original PD, I see this one as being a little more emblematic of the latest release from Porsche Design, that titanium version. It's a little bit cleaner and a little more crisper with that white modern loom, and looks really gorgeous, Dan, so job well done. Ba-bam! Both Dan Henry's Alpha and Bravo next to each other. Get real close in the middle, fellas, so we can put some numbers up on the board. You're going to see a minor variation in the diameter, but the new one is a little bit thicker, and if you notice, this one has a day date, whereas this one just had a day. I don't think that's the reason for the variation in thickness. Let's take a look at the the relief that's present on each. Got the motorcycle there, and on the new one, boom, we got the F14. It actually does say Maverick on the back, so pretty cool. I think that the thickness is chiefly due to that. Had to take the gloves off. They were fighting me. The thickness is chiefly due to the case back on the new one. Let me see if I can get this to show up. Yeah, all right, got it. You see that? The case back is a little bit thicker on the new one, probably due for that, either due to that larger relief. No, it can't be. Maybe it's just a different choice of case back, so it's a little bit thicker. But other than that, these are pretty much comparably spec'd. 50 meters of water resistance, both with screw-down crowns. That's awesome. And I don't miss the alarm function. I think that what Dan's done here, I'm going to drop this one out for a second and pop in a photo of the new release from Porsche Design, their titanium. And looking at these side by side, yeah, that was a little more of the inspiration than the OG, right? Maybe this is the watch that the original one should have been. Instead of doing an Alpha and a Bravo, just doing this one. Who knows where he gets his inspiration, but I have to say he's knocked it out of the park with this one. And I don't believe this one is going to be limited, so you'll be able to get it from the website for whoever knows how long. Really great execution, Dan. The dial is super clean without that little alarm gizmo going on there. Cleans up the dial a bit. The day date feature is, far more true to the original, and without having alarm chronograph there, we just have Dan Henry above the day date. I think it's a great addition and really a superb homage and an alternate if you can't get one of the original Porsche designs. And what is probably going to go down in record as the silliest wrist shot ever done. All right, the triple. We got the new Dan Henry on the left, Top Gun 1 mile in the middle, and the first Dan Henry on the right. Side by side, take a look, take a gander, and you know what? You really can't go wrong with either of the Dan Henrys. But at this point, since these were limited, you can't really find them. This one is so much more gorgeous anyway. You might as well just go ahead and grab it. It's on the website. Hit them up, and if you end up getting one, tell Dan I sent you. In summation, Dan, you killed it. You knocked it out of the park. Just like with all of Dan's releases, you get this. It comes shipped in this container with this wonderful little watch roll. Easily the new front runner as the best homage tribute if you can't get an OG Porsche design. Now, if you like this piece of artwork down here, I'm thinking about selling those. I did it for my own love of, playing around with Photoshop and so forth, but that's printed on metal, and I think I might, as I begin to look at launching the website and so forth, what I'm going to offer on there, maybe we'll sell some art, but I promise you this, no matter what, I will never sell you any Garfunkel. All right, thank you to Dan Henry for this amazing release, and thank you for coming along on the ride in this wonderful, beautiful hobby of ours. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.